A big hike to your utility bills could soon be on the way, even though the price to produce gas and electricity are actually falling. That's the focus of the Chicago Sun-Times Sunday edition, and Stephanie Zimmermann joins us now with those details from the investigation. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, fun to talk about our electric and our gas bills.
We all got to deal with it.
Yeah, we all have to deal with it. So why are they expecting the big increase?
So, and I should say first of all that the numbers aren't in yet.
Okay.
These are kind of alarm bells being raised by some of the consumer groups because of all the capital spending that's planned by ComEd and People's Gas. And ComEd is looking at spending about $7.6 billion over the next 4 years for different kinds of capital improvements. And People's Gas is in the midst of doing this massive pipeline replacement project, and you've probably seen streets being dug up. That's going to cost ultimately as much as $8 billion. And the concern is that that's going to get come on us.
So these pipeline investments, how necessary are they? What are these utility groups saying about that?
Yeah, well, with the pipeline project for People's Gas, that was all started because of this 1992 fire. And I don't know if you guys remember this in Chicago.
Yeah.
4 people were killed actually in this big explosion in River West. And 18 buildings were just leveled.
Right.
And after that, People's Gas, for safety reasons, started replacing pipeline, which totally makes sense. But what these consumer groups say is that it kind of mushroomed from there, and it became a huge system-wide project that could ultimately cost $8 billion. And it's also doing some other things. It's changing everything to medium pressure. People's Gas says that will be safer. But these consumer groups say, you're building like a Cadillac system.
Right.
And maybe by the time it's done, 10, 20, 40, 30 years from now, we're not going to be necessarily using that much natural gas because people are going to greener energy. So you might be building this wonderful thing that might not be used as much.
Does the state and local government get involved in terms of how much they're allowed to pass on to the consumer? Is there regulations in place for that?
Yes. Well, the Illinois Commerce Commission, the ICC, that's the body that regulates the utilities, gas and electric. And they have to come in and ask for a rate hike if that's what they want. Now, ComEd is expected to put in for their rate, file for their rate case in April. And People's Gas is widely expected to do that as soon as this month. And the ICC has an ability to kind of regulate that stuff, but some of those costs are cooked in because the legislature passed a formula rate for ComEd. It allows them a little more leeway in what they're going to charge people, and that goes through 2022. So we're still operating under that formula rate. With People's Gas, the legislature did something for them too. Way back when they passed a bill rider, and that's an extra thing on your bill. Right now it's about $75 a year for this pipeline replacement work, and the concern is that that amount of money could go way up. Yeah. The amount of money that people are spending on this project.
Yeah, so by 2040, $750 would be that per year, in theory.
And again, in theory, because some of these numbers are very squishy. These are consumer groups that of course, are advocating, we want lower bills and so forth. So, but that's some of the estimates that are out there. Nobody really knows, and we kind of have to wait to see what these filings are.
Well, and because it's just a fluid thing, too. So, okay, let's say they have the X bill that you have to pay for the infrastructure that they're building, but what if the power and gas fluctuates in price? Are they just making the money then, and we're all losing out?
Yeah, well, see, that's the whole thing that kind of burns these consumer groups. Because right now, you've probably followed the headlines, energy prices are at a very low level. Like, people are describing it like historically low. So you would expect as a consumer, hey, we're all going to be like having a party because our bills are going down. But the point is that these other capital projects are kind of hitting us. So, and I think probably from the perspective of the utilities, they think this is a great time to do it because energy prices are low, so they can quick get this work done. And then maybe we won't feel it as much. But some of these consumer groups are saying, is all of that work completely necessary?
And I'm sure environmental groups are weighing in as well and probably have some pushback to seeing all this.
Yeah, and these environmental groups and the consumer groups are all pushing legislation right now in Springfield, the Clean Energy Jobs Act, that will what they want to do is make Illinois be like a model for the nation. They want more green energy, more clean energy, less carbon footprint, and they want to have certain benchmarks that utilities have to meet, and they'd have incentives to do that. So they're really pushing on that. The utilities, on the other hand, are continuing to say that, well, energy prices are low, you know, we're doing the best we can, and they're saying that all of this capital investment is really necessary.
I know that a lot of people just have automatic, you know, they pay those bills
Right.
every month. They don't even take a look at them. But for a lot of lower income folks, boy, that extra
hits.
couple dollars is going to really hurt. So
Yeah.
it's important to keep touching. I imagine you guys will be keeping us updated on these rate hikes.
Oh, we absolutely will. And for Chicagoans, especially low-income Chicagoans, that's a really good point. Some of this stuff, if we get hit with a really hard winter sometime,
Yeah.
people could really be in a mess. So we will keep following it.
Awesome.
so
Thank
much.
you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here this morning. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. To learn more about this story and others, head on over to the Chicago Sun-Times website.